तस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले ते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So today let's try to comprehend one very, very important subject matter from a Vaishnava's life, and that is humility. And this quality of humility is what attracts Krishna. So many times we hear in various different classes that how Krishna is not attracted by anything of this world. Come on, he is called as Krishna, and that itself means all attractive. How can all attractive be attracted by something of this material world? Not possible. So all attractive Krishna gets attracted to that devotee who has got this quality of humility, and this quality of humility attracts intense mode of devotional service. Because you have to have a patra to receive something when you're begging. So you go in front of the Lord and you're asking, oh Lord, please give me Krishna Prem, please give me Krishna Prem. And you never know, maybe Lord is giving, but there's a big hole. And everything just flows down like that. Yes, whatever mercy is given. So we need to cover that hole. And how do we become the right patra? We become right patra by getting this wonderful quality of humility. And how do we cultivate this quality of humility? Obviously, we have to beg and pray to Krishna. And by Krishna's mercy, this divine quality will manifest, no doubt. Another very important and an easy way is to hear about those devotees who are humble. So more we hear from the Shastra about those devotees who are humble, it will pierce our heart, first and foremost. Because we'll realize that I don't fit there. I don't fit that definition of humility the way this devotee is fitting. And naturally, we'll get that aspiration, I also want to become like this. Therefore, you see, in our Vaishnava culture, Shravanam has given so much of importance. Because just by Shravanam, our aspirations will change. A person with a deep material aspiration will get an aspiration that I want to be humble in Krishna consciousness and I want to advance in Krishna consciousness with this humility as the base quality. So in this way, more we hear about these devotees, more we will get aspiration to become humble. More we'll be able to offer prayers. And when we offer prayers, why will not Lord sanction? Lord is waiting there. Why is he standing in his threefold bending form with Srimati Radharani? They're waiting, okay, now my devotee will come, then he'll ask for the right thing and we'll give that, we'll bless. We'll be able to ask. Therefore, to understand what I'm supposed to aspire, we have to hear about Vaishnavas from the Shastra. Let's hear about one Vaishnava from today, from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Everyone knows Gadadhar Pandit, one of the personalities from Panchatattva, non-different from Srimati Radharani. So Gadadhar Pandit had a very wonderful disciple and his name was Anantacharya. So this Sri Anantacharya, he was a very, very close associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says that this Anantacharya in the spiritual world is one of the 8 gopis, the Ashtasakhis on the altar of Radha Madhav. Yes. So one of them is Sudevi. So Sudevi Sakhi she came down as Anantacharya in the beautiful pastime of Lord Chaitanya. And this personality, his body was always absorbed in love of Godhead. Always busy serving Lord Chaitanya with all the limbs of his body. And he was very magnanimous and advanced in all respects. Just by associating with him, people would understand that how great he is. In Jagannath Puri, we have the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So there, currently it is called as Ganga Mata Goswamini Mutt. So this Ganga Mata Mutt in Puri was established by Anantacharya during that time. So very great personality. This is what we understand. So Gadadhar Pandit's disciple was Anantacharya. And Anantacharya had a disciple and his name was Sri Haridas Pandit. Now this Haridas Pandit is different from Haridas Thakur, Namacharya. He is Sri Haridas Pandit. Now this Sri Haridas Pandit was also known as Sri Raghu Gopal. Raghu Gopal. And in the spiritual world, he is Sri Rasa Manjari. Now all these personalities are not ordinary personalities and all great personalities. Just to deliver chutkul entities like us, big entities have to come. Not one or two, so many people. So many close associates of the Lord, they come down just to help all of us to get back to the spiritual world. And one of them is this. Now he was the chief servitor of Govinda Dev in Vrindavan. In Vrindavan we have these different temples, the 7 temples. One of them is Radha Govinda Dev or Govindaji Mandir, very famous. So beautiful, that architecture and all that, so beautiful. It was a 7-story building. I was wondering if that would have been there now. That would have been one of the wonders of the world. Huge. Now only 2 stories are there and it looks so beautiful. Anyways, and all glories to the rulers who came, the Mughals and the Islamic rulers who did the needful. Here, this personality, Sri Haridas Pandit, was serving there in that temple. He was the chief servitor, maybe the chief pujari or the maybe chief servant. His role was that. And it's very wonderful to note. Someday we will discuss about Ganga Mata Goswami, then we will understand her glories. But here we understand that this personality, Sri Haridas Pandit, he had a lady disciple called Lakshmi Priya and she was the aunt of Ganga Mata Goswamini. So there is a link everywhere that how this great personalities, they are connected to each other. Now, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he speaks about the qualities of Haridas Pandit. More we hear the qualities of these great Vaishnavas, more our heart will pain and more will get purified. Therefore, we should hear more about the qualities of these great personalities from the Shastra. First thing that is told is, he was very gentle and tolerant. He was very peaceful and magnanimous. He was grave. And whenever he would speak, it will be so pleasing, so sweet. And very sober in his endeavors. Now, it is such a very important thing to note. The word gentle is the first word that is used. And Prabhupada always said, if someone asked him that how to make out who are the members of your organization, and what did Prabhupada say? They would be perfect gentlemen. Yes. And as of now, you are completely opposite. Prabhupada will also be thinking, kahan se aa gaye ye log? Where is that gentleness? Actually, as a devotee grows in Krishna consciousness, he becomes more gentle and tolerant. And internally, he'll be very peaceful, satisfied. And just by seeing his very good smiling face, blissful face, other people also become very blissful. अभी हमारा सिचुएशन ऐसा है कि कोई अगर खुश भी रहे तो हमें देख के दुखी हो जाएगा. That is our situation. Another very important thing, he was respectful to everyone. This one quality you will find in every great personality who has attained the highest destination. Amanina manadena. You will see that these devotees are naturally respectful towards others. Not just devotees, they are respectful towards each and every living entity. Amazing. And he worked for the benefit of all. This is another important quality that you will see. A Vaishnava never lives his life for himself. He always lives for others. And he is very blissful. 3 things were not known to him. It was unknown to his heart. Diplomacy, envy, jealousy. The treasure that we have, he didn't have this treasure. So these 3 things were not there in him. Diplomacy, envy and jealousy. he had all the 50 qualities of Lord Krishna. So there are 64 qualities, prominent qualities. Out of that, 50 are supposed to be there in living entities, marginal potency. But due to ignorance, many of these qualities are covered in us. But as we advance in bhakti, as it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yashasti bhaktir bhagvatya kinchana sarvair gunes tatra samasate surah. So, in this particular shloka, it is said, just by doing Krishna bhakti, we'll get all the wonderful qualities. But we cannot cross 50 qualities. And we cannot have 50 qualities in full. So, we can have minute qualities, minute quantity of all these 50 qualities. But as of now, we don't have. Many of them are covered. But this personality, Sri Haridas Pandit, he had all the 50 qualities in minute quantity. So wonderful. Another very important quality of his was, he always accepted the good qualities of Vaishnav and never found fault in them. This is the most biggest austerity in life for a devotee. To just see good in the Vaishnavas and not to find faults. As of now, we just find faults. And we say there is no good. Now, sometimes when devotees are annoyed with other devotees and they come to talk, they say, bro, there's no good quality in that devotee. पता नहीं हम उसको devotee बोलते भी क्यों है? I'll not call him Prabhu. He's just some das. So you see, our situation is so horrible. We are talking about attaining Krishna Prem within this life. And we are so very wonderful, so very great and so very expert in finding faults in others. And finding faults is like going and sucking the juice from a garbage bin. Garbage bin is so stinky and so dirty. And there we are going and trying to suck some juice from there. But then the great devotees are like honeybees. They only suck nectar from the lotus flower, from beautiful flowers. And he had such a wonderful thing. He engaged his heart and soul only to satisfy Vaishnavas. His entire life was just spent in this. Serving the Vaishnavas, pleasing the Vaishnavas. Chota bado dono Vaishnav. He would serve all the Vaishnavas. Be it subordinate, be it equal, be it superior, he would serve everyone. And we understand anyone who pleases the Vaishnavas, that person is blessed by the Lord. Now, when you receive blessing from the Lord, what is the thing that will happen in our life? So what happened in his life? Very beautifully, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, Chaitanya Nityanande Tara Parama Vishwasa Chaitanya Charite Tara Parama Ullasa. Now, when you receive mercy of the Lord, the first thing that will happen is the faith in the lordships will increase to a very, very great extent. So he had a great faith in whom? Chaitanya Nityananda. He had a great faith in Chaitanya and Nityananda. See, only when you have faith in the lordships, we can render some intense devotional service. If we don't have faith, then surrendering onto the lotus feet only becomes very difficult. Therefore, the first point is he had great faith. Another very important thing, Chaitanya Charite Tara Parama Ullasa. He would take great pleasure, great satisfaction in hearing the glories of Chaitanya and Nityananda, in understanding their pastimes. And therefore, this personality, he would hear Chaitanya Bhagavat very nicely every single day in the association of Vaishnavas. So more we hear, more we are empowered to speak. And this personality was very much empowered, and it is said, Kathaya Sabha Ujjvala Kare Jena Purna Chandra Nija Gurna Amrite Badaya Vaishnava Ananda. So like the full moon, he would illuminate the assembly of Vaishnavas. So all Vaishnavas are sitting. And then he's illuminating the entire assembly. How? By speaking Chaitanya Bhagavat, which was known as Chaitanya Mangal before. And by the nectar of his qualities, he increased their transcendental bliss. Now this is something which I want to highlight. Nija Guna Amrita Badaya Vaishnava Ananda. Our skills are not going to increase the bliss of Vaishnavas. Our various street smartness or talents or whatever externals that we have, those are not going to please the Vaishnavas. Maybe initially, when someone comes new, maybe that person will be pleased by seeing externals. But with time, as we grow in Krishna consciousness, what actually pleases the Vaishnavas around is the transcendental qualities that we have. When someone asks us this question, what will please our spiritual master the most? And the answer is, if we are able to develop divine qualities, Vaishnava qualities, they will be actually pleased. Obviously, they'll be pleased with the preaching that we do, the book distribution that we do, and all the other services that we do, no doubt. But that might not give that great happiness as compared to the happiness that they derive when they hear, my disciple has got these amazing, wonderful divine qualities. He has developed. Because as soon as the disciple starts developing divine qualities, the spiritual master can make out, oh, he's advancing in bhakti. And finally, what spiritual master wants? He wants the disciple to advance in bhakti. Go back home, back to Godhead. One of the sannyasis in iskcon was asked this question. What your disciples should do that will please you the most? This was the question. And this spiritual master, he said, if they become pure devotees, that will please me the most. Now this is valid across the iskcon community. Such a wonderful answer. If my disciples become pure devotees, that will please me the most. So this is what they look at. Therefore, these Vaishnavas, all the great Vaishnavas, all the senior devotees, they're very pleased when they see the devotee is advancing in bhakti. And how do they get to know that? When the Vaishnava qualities emerge. There's one discussion which we were having with some senior devotees. And I was telling that so-and-so devotee, I don't think he's great in this and that. And, some discussion was going on about some service. So the conclusion that we derived in that discussion was, doesn't matter what is the skill set of a devotee. If he's a nice devotee, if he's a nice Vaishnav, eager to render devotional service, to attain Krishna this very life, that person should be there in the community. That was the conclusion that we had in one of the discussion. And that's what gives a lot of bliss for the Vaishnavas. So this personality was so attached to hearing Gaur Katha and speaking Gaur Katha. And everyone would relish sitting in his association and hearing from him. In fact, one of the very important things is, the bliss in the life of a devotee is to be with devotees and hear Krishna Katha, Gaur Katha. If there are a lot of devotees around, and there are so many other discussions which are happening, you are getting amazing prasad, and there are amazing facilities. You have AC in your room, with devotees. You have a nice Kurlan mattress. You have this, you have that, everything is there. But if there is no discussion on Krishna Katha, Gaur Katha, then actually there is no bliss. Because the real bliss comes from discussion about Krishna. Parasparanu kathanam pavanam bhagavat yashah mithoratir mitastushti nivrittir mita atmanah. Very beautiful shloka. So when devotees come together, what do? They discuss about Krishna and they satisfy each other. They give bliss to each other, they nourish each other. And here we understand that everyone was having nice time hearing this great personality, Sri Haridas Pandit, who was the disciple of Sri Anantacharya, and Sri Anantacharya was the disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. Now, so this personality, he went to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Now, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami had a great treasure. Let me tell you what was that. So if you all remember, we had discussed about Raghunath Das Goswami in Jagannath Puri. So when Raghunath Das Goswami went to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put Raghunath Das Goswami under whom? Whose guidance? Sarup Damodar Goswami. Now, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there in Navadvip doing his 24 years of pastimes, the Navadvip Leela, so at that time, there was one physician and his name was Murari Gupta. So Murari Gupta documented those Navadvip pastimes elaborately in his diary. All glories to him. And because of him today we have the Bal Leela with us. And then in Jagannath Puri, Swarup Damodar, he would make shorthand notes of whatever was happening around, whatever was going around. Can you imagine? We are reading the pastimes, they were seeing the pastimes and writing the pastimes. Okay, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did this, okay. Well, their evenings, their nights would be like that maybe. Before going to sleep today, what all things Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, and then pen it down. My God, so wonderful, so ecstatic that will be. Think about it. Even I think about this Prabhupada's disciple. One day I was just sitting and thinking about Hari Shauri Prabhu, Burijan Prabhu and others. I was thinking, my God, these people are there with Prabhupada. We keep hearing about Prabhupada. We worship Prabhupada's Murti. But these people are there with Prabhupada. And now I was just thinking, when they close their eyes, what will be the scene that they will get? They can easily think, okay, 1966, this particular day, what happened? 1970, what happened? And I think they can spend their entire life thinking like this. Therefore, many of the times I see these devotees were very close to Srila Prabhupada, and when they are asked to give Bhagavatam class, they start with Bhagavatam shloka, they speak for 15 minutes, and after that, for 45 minutes, 1 hour, Prabhupada Leela. I observed many times. I was in Vrindavan and Hari Shauri Prabhu was there, he was giving class. So, I think he might have spoken for 10 minutes Bhagavatam. And after that, he spoke about Prabhupada's sprite pastime for a good 1 hour. And he was relishing like anything. Now, when you're seeing a great personality and you're spending time and you're having that blissful experience of being in that person's association, and all your senses are saturated by that experience, tell me, why will you forget that experience? And just think here, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there doing his Leela. And here is Swarup Damodar who is making shorthand notes. Maybe the pastimes are so many that he has to pen it down fast. So he's making shorthand notes of whatever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing. But it is described that Raghunath Das Goswami would make elaborate notes. And Murari Gupta, he passed on his notes, his diary to Swarup Damodar. And Swarup Damodar, he passed his own diary and the diary of Murari Gupta to Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami goes to Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri. And Raghunath Das Goswami is there in that place, sitting on the banks of Radhakund. And he's speaking Chaitanya Leela from these diaries. And guess what? Who is sitting in the assembly? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he would sit there and he would hear all the pastimes from the person who has witnessed the pastimes. That is Raghunath Das Goswami. And like this, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami became a very dear student of Raghunath Das Goswami. And he was fully saturated with Chaitanya Leela, Gaur Leela. So all the devotees knew this. That treasure which came from Murari Gupta, that treasure which came from Swarup Damodar, which was given to Raghunath Das Goswami, is now there with Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Everyone knew this. Therefore, Sri Haridas Pandit was so very absorbed in hearing Chaitanya Bhagavat, speaking Chaitanya Bhagavat. He approached Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and he said, Teho ati kripa kari agya kaila more gaurangera shesha lila varni bharatare. So it is described in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Vrindavan Das Thakur, now many of the times, he would just be completely in ecstasy thinking about Nityananda Prabhu and Lord's Gauranga's various pastimes, and he elaborated a lot about Navadvip pastimes. But the later pastimes are not very much elaborated in Chaitanya Bhagavat. So these devotees, they had an opportunity to hear Navadvip Leelas till the pastime of sannyas. And little bit later, little bit more. But they were not having the treasure to understand what happened in Jagannath Puri. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, what happened in Jagannath Puri? This treasure they were not having. So Sri Haridas Pandit, he went to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and he said, please write about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And for your information, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is very, very old. When he holds the pen, his hands shiver. He's not able to see. The vision is hazy. He's very old. Body is very weak. And to that person, Sri Haridas Pandit is going and saying, please write Chaitanya's Leelas, the later part. We want to hear. And after that, few more devotees went to him. There was one devotee whose name was Govinda Gosai, who was another priest in Govindadev temple. And this person was the disciple of Kashishwar Pandit. So Kashishwar Pandit is one of the close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. So whenever Lord Chaitanya would go to take darshan of Jagannath, so we all know the crowd of the Puri temple. All the time it is crowded. So when Lord would go, even at that time it used to be crowded. So Kashishwar Pandit was very strong. He would go and then protect Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from all sides. And also after the kirtan is done, he would distribute prasad. So this was his main service. So his disciple was Govinda Gosai. And he also went to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and he said, you should write. We want to hear. You should write. And then Sri Yadavacharya Goswami, who was constant associate of Srila Rupa Goswami, he also went to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. You should write. Bhugarbha Goswami. So two devotees were sent by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very, very initial stage. At that time in Vrindavan, there were not many devotees. And these two personalities were friends also. Lokanath Goswami and Bhugarbha Goswami. Very, very old devotees. So Bhugarbha Goswami, he also went. And he also told Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, you should write. Then Shivananda Chakravarti, he is another disciple of Anantacharya. Now he also went and he said that you should write. I just think how much pressure is there on Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. The body is weak, the hand is shivering, he cannot see. And then all the devotees are asking you, please write. We want to hear the later pastimes of the Lord. In this, you can also comprehend the intensity, the taste that these devotees had to hear about Chaitanya's pastime. They are sitting in Vrindavan and they have access to Krishna Leela there. They have Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami books. But they are hearing that, but at the same time, they are very, very eager to hear about Gauranga Mahaprabhu. A very important point for us as sadhakas, they were relishing Gauranga Mahaprabhu's pastime. For us, we might not relish, but we must hear, because these pastimes will actually help us to get purified faster. Because in Krishna Leela, because of our lusty, sinful mind, we might commit offenses mentally, hearing the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna with Srimati Radharani and Gopis. Because those are the topmost pastime. The Rasa Panchadhyaya are the topmost pastime. We might commit offenses if we don't receive it properly and not have proper consciousness. But tell me, in Gaur Leela, what is there which will spoil our consciousness? A lusty mind can be easily tamed by hearing Gaur Leela. Yes. Because the Leela of all men. So all the Prabhujis are there, doing various pastimes. And dur tak Mataji is not allowed. And only very few Matajis, that too very exalted, pure, they were there. So in this way, we see that naturally, there is no question of having any lusty feelings because of this lusty mind and sinful mind. Therefore, Gaur Leela is something that sadhakas should hear. And Gaur Leela is something which Siddhas also hear and they relish Gaur Leela. They cry, how can be our Lord so merciful? How is He delivering all these people who are so sinful, so obnoxious in their thought process? How wonderful our Lord is. We want to surrender onto His lotus feet. And they just relish hearing. And all these devotees, they were hankering so much to hear more and more and more. about Chaitanya Leela. See, we don't have that much of craze, to be frank, about hearing. जिनके पास कुछ नहीं होता ना तभी क्रेज होता है. When you have so many cartons of Bhagavatam set around, which are not distributed yet, when you have so many sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita around and so many other books around, so we might not understand the importance of it. But these personalities who don't have access to all these things, see, we also have the same Chaitanya Charitamrita which they are hankering for. But do we hanker to hear? No. But look at their hankering. ये तो 500 साल पहले की बात है. Let me take you 50 years back during Prabhupada's Leela. Now, it is so wonderful to note that Prabhupada would write books and those were published one after another. And whatever was published, till that point of time, devotees would read and finish off everything. All the small books done, all the Back to Godhead magazines done. And then Bhagavad-gita as it is, the Macmillan edition, read. Krishna book, done. The first 2 Bhagavatam cantos, done. And as soon as the next canto would come, there would be just there would be fire in the association of devotees. New book released, and they would just get it, and then sometimes maybe they might not get so many copies, they might have only 1 copy or 2 copies, and all the devotees would come together and then they would read. And they would just keep looking forward for the next book. And sometimes when the book is not getting published, it is getting delayed, they would beg for the dictaphone recordings. Can you please give me recordings? There were few rich people. You know who were the rich people? The editors. Because they would get all the tapes first. And then other devotees go and they would beg, can you please give me? I want to hear. I'll return back. I want to hear. This was the hankering that devotees had. अभी अपना प्रॉब्लम ये है कि सब कुछ है, सब कुछ अवेलेबल है. Therefore, we are not that keen about, I want to read Chaitanya Charitamrita, I want to finish this book, that book. अपना ये है कि बाप रे कितना बुक्स लिख दिए प्रभुपाद. Why it took so much of hard work and so much of effort in the old days? You could have rested, Baba. So many books. Oh, entire gift shop is filled. This is what is our condition. So this is the difference that we see between those devotees who hanker, who really have that hankering to hear about the Lord, and we who are saturated with material desires. You can see clear difference between the two. So Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is saying, Mora agya karila sabe, karuna kariya, tan sabar bole likhi, nirlajja haya. So Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is saying, all these Vaishnavas, they ordered me to write the later pastimes of the Lord. And he says that I accepted. And although I'm shameless, I've attempted to write this Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is calling himself shameless. Now I was wondering, why is he calling himself as shameless? What do you think? Why Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is saying, I'm nirlajja? Yeah, that's the point. He was feeling so humble. He was so humbled. Firstly, I'm supposed to write about the pastimes of the Lord. Me? No, that was his mood. But that mood is saying that, how can I write? But still I'm writing. Look at how shameless I am. I'm not qualified, but still I'm attempting to write. One point is very important to note. Unless one is empowered by higher authorities or advanced devotees, one cannot write transcendental literature. One cannot. So only when someone is empowered by higher authorities, they are the ones who can write transcendental literatures. And the rest, they can just write novels and spoil others' consciousness. Because transcendental literature means you need to have transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge can be transferred only by transcendental personalities. Therefore, those transcendental personalities, when they empower us, at that time, we can write the transcendental subject matter. And here Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, Prabhupada says, to write about transcendental pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead is not an ordinary endeavor. So Prabhupada can write from his deep realizations. It's not an ordinary endeavor for sure. Because those pastimes, when they're presented with great purity, as it is, that will influence many, many lives. Can you imagine? These literatures have the power to turn the Bahirmukh Jeev towards Krishna. That's a big service. I don't know if you understand what it means. It's a big service. From many, many lifetimes, the Jivatmas are Bahirmukh. And then these literatures are giving them an opportunity to turn themselves towards Krishna. And what do you mean by turning towards Krishna? Means going back home, back to Godhead. Very soon, they'll make their way back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, these transcendental literatures, they play a very, very vital role in the life of a devotee. And therefore, he's saying that it's such a great thing and I am doing. Krishnadas can do this. No, I'm fallen. How can I do it? That was the mood. And therefore, he calls himself as Nirlajja. Now, all the Vaishnavas asked, he said, okay. He accepted the order of all Vaishnavas on his head. But then he wanted one more confirmation. He went to the temple of Radha Madan Mohan. And at that time, this was not called as Radha Madan Mohan temple. It was called as Madan Gopal temple. Later, the name was changed as Madan Mohan. So he says, Vaishnavera Agyapaya Chintita Antare Madana Gopale Gela Nagya Magivare. He's saying Vaishnavas gave me the instruction, but Chintita Antare. I was in anxiety, Baba, from within I was in anxiety. Therefore, I went to the Madan Gopal temple, the current Madan Mohan temple, for what? To beg for permission to do this very, very difficult task. Tell me, why is it difficult? 2 reasons. First point, physically, he was not in a position to write such a huge literature. Second, he is going to attempt to present the pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are 2 things. And then he wants the mercy of the Lord. Without that, how can he do that? Now, he went to ask permission of the Lord. Now say we have been given some service by some devotee. And we say, okay, now let me go and take permission of the Lord. But how will we understand if Lord has given permission or not? If you're not interested in service, we can go and say, Prabhuji, Bhagwan ne permission nahi diya. Yes. So how will we understand? See, Prabhupada, he writes, one must first become a pure devotee by following the strict regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds daily. And when one thinks that he's actually on the Vaishnava platform, he must then take permission from spiritual master, and that permission must also be confirmed by Krishna from within his heart. Now see, it's a very high qualification. Huh? For us, who speaks within? Mind speaks. Or sometimes the gas in the stomach. So it's the mind that speaks. Our contaminated mind speaks within. So we can never say, okay, Bhagwan ne mujhe inspire kiya, Bhagwan ne mujhe bola. Those statements are not very much appreciated from the mouth of a sadhaka. Siddha, if he says, then I accept it. But when sadhakas say such things, it's difficult. Therefore, for us, one of the important things is, whatever our immediate seniors are giving us as seva, that we take it as an instruction, as order given by Guru and Krishna. And obviously, with time, when we get purified, then naturally we will also have the access directly to the Lord. And Lord will inspire us from within what He wants us to do. But till a person attains perfection, it's very important, to follow the services given or to render the services as directed by the immediate superiors. And as we advance in bhakti and as we perfect our life, we'll be more eager to have someone at the top giving us service. Because at that time, the mood will be that I want to be the servant of the servant of the servant. As of now, see, we want to be boss. Then with time, we'll want to become servant of the boss. Then as we advance more, servant of the servant of the boss. Then servant of the servant of the servant of the boss. You see, as you advance, the more das is going to get added. And that means we are advancing more. So therefore, with time, initially we don't like to be under an authority. But with time, we always want to be under an authority. Because we know that that's my shelter. That's my shelter. And here, this devotee, he went to ask permission to Madan Mohan Dev. So he went there. That day, the priest who was there, his name was Gosai Das. He was serving the Lord that day. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he went there, he stood in front of the Lord. Can you imagine the intensity of prayers that he was offering? I'm going to do unfathomable task, O Lord. I've been asked to do that. Can you please bless me? This mood we can see in Srila Prabhupada. When Srila Prabhupada, when he would go to Shantipur, to Advaitacharya's house, he would sit and cry there. He would beg the mercy of Advaitacharya. Kaise hoga ye? How is it possible? How can I, in this old age, preach? That to the Western crowd. And the next place, where Srila Prabhupada was doing this or offering intense prayers was in Radha Damodar Mandir at Samadhi of Rupa Goswami. He would just clean that place and he would be crying that how I, an old man, without money, without capacity, without any bhakti, how can I preach this transcendental message of Krishna consciousness to the Western world? But my spiritual master has told, please help me, please bless me. This was the mood. And same mood, where is that mood coming from? It's coming from that great personalities like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Because he was also begging and praying that, oh Lord, I need your mercy. I'm so old and I have been asked by all these Vaishnavas, my spiritual masters, that I have to pen down your glorious pastimes. That too, the pastimes are very intense and very difficult to understand. The Antya Leela pastimes of the Lord are the most difficult to understand. How can someone understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Vipralamba Bhav, where he is just scratching, he's rubbing his entire face on the wall out of that deep separation from the Lord. And then, there is so much of perspiration, but that perspiration is not transparent perspiration, that is reddish perspiration. Blood used to ooze out from every pore of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body when he would feel separation and that intense ecstasy, remembering the Lord. How can someone understand this? And that he was supposed to write. That he was supposed to write. Therefore, he's standing in front of Madan Mohan and he's begging. Prabhura charane jadi agya magila Prabhu kantha haite mala kasiya padila. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that I was begging and praying to Madan Mohan. And at that time, the beautiful garland from the neck of Madan Mohan fell down as a blessing for me, as a permission for me to write Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit. And immediately, the devotee, Gosai Das, he did something. And all the Vaishnavas around, they did something. Sabha Vaishnava Gana Hari Dhvani Dila Gosai Das Ani Mala Mora Gale Dila. See, so many Vaishnavas were there around. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is standing in front of the Lord. He is begging and praying to the Lord. And at that time, in front of all the Vaishnavas, the garland falls. What do you think all the Vaishnavas might have done? And the pitch of the voice, they chanted, Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! And immediately, Gosai Das, he was there in the altar. He got that garland and he put it around the neck of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And when he was putting around the neck of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, what do you think the Vaishnavas might have done? Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! All the Vaishnavas were jubilant. They were in ecstasy. But I have a question here. That garland fell for Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, no? Blessing was for Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Why these devotees are getting in ecstasy? You see, when it comes to us, if some devotee advances in bhakti, we say, Hari Bol. Yes. So we are not actually jubilant, but since everyone is chanting, chala gaya, aage chala gaya. Or this team went ahead. That team went ahead. This devotee went ahead of me. See, the very, very important thing to note, when it comes to devotees, you will see that they will be jubilant when some devotee is receiving mercy of Guru and Krishna. When it comes to sadhakas filled with anarthas, you will see or experience yourself that when some devotee is advancing, we will feel jealous. And if we are very, very contaminated in our consciousness, we'll feel envious. We would like to pull that devotee down or harm that devotee. My God. We are such demons, I tell you. Such demons. All demonic qualities within. Therefore, we should pray to Lord Narasimha. We should pray to Gauranga, Nityananda, Sri Radha and Krishna. Please kill this demon within me. Yes. Because the sign of advancement in Krishna consciousness is when we naturally feel happy when some devotee is advancing in Krishna consciousness. Natural, huh? बाहर से नहीं. हरि बोल प्रभु गले मिलो. और and then suddenly you remember, नहीं प्रभु जी ने कहा कि natural हाँ तो मतलब सामने वाला मरते मरते बच जाता है. Yes. So just think about it. Do we really feel happy when someone is getting glorification? Say, we all are involved in some service and one devotee has done exemplary service and that devotee has been glorified. Our authority is glorifying that devotee. So are we really feeling happy that a devotee is receiving mercy of the Lord? Very important question. And every devotee should answer because every devotee will have his own answer. Some devotee will say, बिल्कुल नहीं अच्छा लगता मुझे. Some devotee will say, कभी कभी अच्छा लगता है, कभी कभी नहीं. Prabhuji, let me be frank. And maybe some elevated souls, they might say, no, Prabhuji, बहुत अच्छा लगता है. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. And you know what? Such devotees will make their way back home, back to Godhead. Because enviousness nahi hai na. Because of enviousness only we have come down. So when that goes away, we'll go up, back home. So just look at this. All the devotees were extremely happy. Now Chaitanya Charitamrita writing started. Now Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami has got his own realization. Because in his old age he is able to write. उनके हाथ शिवर करते थे. उनको दिखाई नहीं देता था. But in that condition also he is able to write. Therefore he gives his own realization and he says, "Ei grantha lekhaya more madana mohana amara likhena jena shukera pathana." So very beautifully he says, Chaitanya Charitamrita is not my writing, Baba. It's not my writing. It is actually dictated by Sri Madan Mohan. It is not my writing. He says that I am like a shuka. How am I writing? I'm just writing like a parrot. I'm just speaking like a parrot. That is the mood, that he has. Very important point. Same is the mood of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada made it very clear. He also shared his realization that these are not my books. I've just penned it down. Every morning when I would write, Krishna would dictate. And I would write. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I would just pen it down. See, this is the mood. This is the mood of our acharyas. हमारा मूड क्या है? मैंने किया. प्रभु कृष्णा's मस्त मैंने. me. कृष्णा and all बाद में. बस कभी कभी भी बोल देते हैं नो भाई mercy of Lord, but me. But me. So this mood that we have, me, that mood we will not see in these personalities. Because they realized, they understand it very well. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tar Paravartan. They're very clear. Without Krishna's mercy, nothing can happen in this world. I cannot do anything. When we come to this understanding that without Krishna's mercy I cannot do anything, it means we're progressing in bhakti. Look at so many pointers that we're getting today to check if you are actually advancing in bhakti or not. Very, very important point. How many times are we acknowledging the Lord for whatever we are able to do? How many times are we passing on the credit and appreciation to the parampara? This is what we're supposed to analyze. Very important. Sometimes when devotees glorify, so personally, I say samne se thank you, and then suddenly I remember, no, it's not for me. No, it's for the lordships. And then we pass on. So there is no direct pass on even now. We have to remind ourselves, no, it's not for me, it's for them. Pass on the glorification. There should be a natural mood where someone is glorifying, and naturally the person will say, ये सब तो मैंने किया ही नहीं है. No, it's all because of them. It's natural, naturally passing it on. But now there are 3 phases for this. So the first phase is where the person receives all the glorification of himself and he says, it's me only and no one else. Then the second phase of the devotee's life is he starts realizing, नहीं ये मैं तो नहीं कर सकता इसको. It's the mercy of the Lord. Then he passes on the mercy. That's second phase. Third phase is that devotee naturally feels that Lord has done and he naturally passes on the glorification. Such devotees will not be swayed away by the Pujala Pratishtha anarthas. One point which Prabhupada is writing, whatever a pure devotee does is done by the dictation of the Supreme Lord. We should be very clear about this point. Whatever a pure devotee does, he is doing it because it's a direct instruction or direction given by the Lord himself. Because they're so connected, so tightly connected. See, for us, when we're stuck in some situation, we don't know what next to do. Yes? But when it comes to pure devotees, I think they might just close their eyes and they'll ask, Krishna, what should I do now? And Krishna will give, do like this. Oh, okay, theek hai. Aankh khol ke, aise karo. And so many times in Prabhupada's pastime, these miracles you will see. You'll remember the Krishna book miracle? Shyam Sundar Prabhu. So he's with Prabhupada and Prabhupada is saying that, okay, go to George Harrison and just tell him that my guru is writing so-and-so book and he will give you. He will give the necessary funds. And he was fully confident. It's not that he may give, he will give. And what happened? He gave. And Shyam Sundar Prabhu, when he came back and he's trying to explain what happened, Prabhupada just gives a smile. Ye sab to pata tha mujhe. Because they already know. That direct connection is there. Because that's how pure they are. And therefore they are called as transparent via medium. Whatever comes from there directly goes out. They're transparent via medium. Now, when it comes to us, how we should render service? Because hamara to aisa connection hai nahi. Prabhupada writes, if one in ignorance places himself under the guidance of a spiritual master and does everything sincerely, immediately the Lord who is situated within everyone's heart dictates how to serve him. The Lord gives this direction and thus devotee's life becomes perfect. So few things to note. One is, one should place oneself under the guidance of an authority, a spiritual master. Second, render service, do everything that is instructed sincerely. And then the result will come, and that is, immediately the Lord who is situated within will dictate how to serve the Lord better. Lord will only tell how to serve him better. So 2 points are very important for us. One is to place ourselves under a superior guidance, a superior spiritual personality, and follow their instructions. And how to execute their instructions? Prabhupada writes, he uses this word very often, sincerely. Now he says, Sai likhi Madan Gopal, Jai likhaya, Kasthera putali jena, Kuha ke nachaya. He's saying, I'm just like a wooden doll, and I'm made to dance by a magician. And who is that magician? Madan Gopal or Madan Mohan. I write as Madan Gopal or Madan Mohan orders me to do so. This is exactly the mood of a pure devotee. They're malleable. They can be bent the way the Lord wants. Yes. सोचिए आपको ऐसे पकड़ के तो हम बोलेंगे नहीं अभी नहीं बस इतना ही हाँ बस इतना ही छोड़िए बस अभी इतना ही बस और नहीं. But when it comes to these great souls, nachao say mate. You do whatever you want. I am ready. See the difference, the difference between us and them. हम लोग का वो होता है constraint. We are like, oh Lord, I'm completely surrendered to your lotus feet, but terms and conditions applied. Yes, but. There'll always be a but. Yes. One of my counselors came to me and he's like, Prabhuji, whatever you'll say, I'll do except these things. Obviously, we have conditional surrender, towards the various personalities like the spiritual guides that we have. Even for that matter, Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru. But complete surrender is only towards Krishna. That is obviously accepted. And the words of the previous Acharya. But when our guides, they are just repeating the words of the previous Acharyas, we should be able to execute it as it is. Very important point. And the same mode we see in Srila Prabhupada in his song, Markene Bhagavad Dharma. Aniya chojadi Prabhu amare na chahte न चाओ प्रभु न चाओ से मते काष्ठेर पुतली जथा न चाओ से मते. Look at Prabhupada. He's saying that, oh Lord, you have brought me here to this place. So Prabhupada is in the West. First time he's stepping on the Western land. And he's telling the Lord, you have brought me here. Oh Lord, I am like the wooden doll. Same as Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami saying, Kasthera Putali. I am like that wooden doll, puppet in your hand. Nachao, 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 nachao. 4 times, 5 times. Prabhupada has used the word nachao. आप एक बार यूज करके देखिए. Oh Lord, nachao. Oh Lord, nachao, ज़्यादा नहीं. Actually, it's scary, no? 5 times using the word nachao, 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 nachao. It's very scary. Because हमारे भगवान सबसे ज़्यादा नाचने वाले हैं. And सबसे ज़्यादा नचाएंगे वही. When it comes to Lord Ram, he might not do this so much. But our Lord, he's known for his notorious activities. So this is the mood of pure devotees where they understand they are not doing it. They are just nimitta. They are just instrument. We feel that we are the ones who are actually the doers, but they feel the doer is someone else. I am just the nimitta, instrument. Very soon we should come to this consciousness. And I'm reminding myself, now it's very easy to sit on Vyasasana and speak high philosophy like this, that we should be instrument. But then when the actual time comes to become the instrument, what is our mode is a question. So it's a good way by which I can also remind myself. And who will have this mood? The one who is very humble naturally. And we see, amazing, in a very amazing way, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he presents his humility. He says, Murkhani cha shudra moi, Vishayalalasa, Vaishnavagya bale kari, Eteka sahasa. He says, Murkha. Translate, Murkha. Translate, foolish. Nicha, low born. Shudra, insignificant. In this context, I think insignificant. Vishaya lalasa, having tendency for material enjoyment. He's saying that I have all this. Are you able to resonate? Yes. He's saying I have all this. But look at his enthusiasm. He says, yet by the order of Vaishnavas, I'm greatly enthusiastic to write this transcendental literature. Look at the mood. Very important. I'm not qualified, I'm a gone case. But by the mercy of Vaishnavas, because they have ordered, I'll do it enthusiastically. So there are 2 wonderful things that we learn. One is humility. Other one is how to accept a service not based on our strength, but on the strength of the mercy of Vaishnavas. So here we understand very clearly that he is rendering this service enthusiastically because he has been ordered by the Vaishnavas. So whatever service we get from Guru and Vaishnavas, we have to take it as our life and soul and just do it. Yes. So we should try our best. If it's there in our capacity, we should try our best to do it. If it's not in our capacity, at least we should endeavor. so that they know कि हमने कुछ किया, try to किया at least. Yes. So this is a very important thing, that what thing we should take it seriously. Then later he says, in the previous chapter, the 5th chapter, he says, this 7th chapter which I am speaking from, the 5th chapter he says, Jagai madai haite mohi se papishta, purushera kit haite mohi se lagishta. He's saying that I am more sinful than Jagai and Madhai, and even lower than the worms in the stool. Only I think our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas only have given such graphic comparison. Sometimes our devotees, they say, Prabhuji Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami said that he is lower than the worm in the stool. I am lower than the worm in the stool of the worm who is in the stool. प्रो थोड़ा नीचे आ जाओ, बहुत ऊपर चढ़ के नीचे आ जाओ. Look at his mood. And see, his mood is consistent. ऐसा नहीं कि first chapter में लिख दिए, second chapter में लिख दिए. He's like continuously the same mood throughout the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then he says, Mora nama shune jay, tara punya kshay, mora naam le jay, tara papa hai. He's saying that anyone who takes my name, Khabardar, all your punya will be destroyed. And not just this, you'll get all pap. Sochi, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is saying, and how many times you take his name? Matlab sara punya chala gaya. This is their humility. They consider themselves so lowly and so fallen. They say, कोई भी हमारा नाम भी लेगा, अगर हमारी छाया अगर किस पे गिरेगी, that person is gone. All punya gone, all sin done. All sin will come. That's the point. That's the mood. Another very important thing that we see is he's an author. He's writing. Now he has some competitors also. There are some similar books which are already published. Which are the books which were published before him? Chaitanya Mangal and Chaitanya Bhagavat. Now it's very natural when some books are already published. Now I'm an author, so I'll think, now this book has to be special, different, best. That was the mood. Yes. But look at our Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, because today the topic is, we are discussing about the humility of Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami's qualification. So look at this now. This is the last section of today's session. How he's talking about Vrindavan Das Thakur. He says, Vrindavana dasera pada padma kari dhyan tara agya lay likhi jahate kalyan. He's saying, I pray at the lotus feet of Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. And by receiving his mercy, by receiving his order, I'm attempting to write this auspicious literature. First and foremost, he's taking blessing from the previous author. Chaitanya Lilate Vyasa Vrindavana Dasa Tara Kripa Bhina Anye Nahaya Prakasha. He's saying that who is authorized to write on Chaitanya Lila? Vrindavan Das Thakur. He is authorized to write. And without his mercy, I cannot write anything. See the way he is putting it forward. And who is this Vrindavan Das Thakur? He was the son of Narayani, and Narayani was the niece of Srivas Thakur. And in the house of Srivas Thakur, the small girl Narayani would be there, and whenever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come for prasad, she was the one who would get the remnants all the time. And this Mataji, who took remnants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regularly, she begot this great personality. His name was Vrindavan Das Thakur. And this Narayani, in the spiritual world, her name is Kilimbika. The two sisters, Ambika and Kilimbika, and both of them, they are nurse in the spiritual world for Krishna. And both of them are sisters. So Kilimbika became Narayani in Gaur Leela. So can you imagine the authenticity of Vrindavan Das Thakur? And what is Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami saying? He is saying that who is the Vyasadev for Chaitanya Leela? Vrindavan Das Thakur. He is giving this. Now see, when I'm writing a book, so I'll always glorify my book. Sale होना चाहिए ना मेरा book का. People should take my book. So I'll glorify my book. Now, if I have a similar book, I'll not speak about it much. If someone comes and says that, Prabhuji, वो ऐसी similar book वहाँ भी है. नहीं वो है लेकिन ये अच्छा है. This is best. And this got more things added. This is there, that is there, and all that. But look at Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. When I was reading this, I was getting goosebumps. How can someone do this? Look at what he says. Ore modha loka shuna Chaitanya Mangala Chaitanya Mahima Jate Janibe Sakala. O fools, just hear Chaitanya Mangal. By reading this book, you can understand all the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. अभी देखिए क्या बोल रहे? By reading Chaitanya Mangal, you'll understand all the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. तो मैंने जो लिखा वो पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Because anyways, you know everything from there, no? Look at the way he is describing. So, Vrindavan Das Thakur wrote this book and it was called as Chaitanya Mangal. After some time, Lochan Das Thakur came and he wrote the book Chaitanya Mangal. So, Vrindavan Das Thakur changed his book's name as Chaitanya Bhagavat. Therefore, today, the book that we call as Chaitanya Bhagavat was called as Chaitanya Mangal before. So, now, Chaitanya Bhagavat is by Vrindavan Das Thakur, Chaitanya Mangal by Lochan Das Thakur. That's what is the understanding that we have in our Vaishnava community. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, you know what he did? If he wanted to compete with Vrindavan Das Thakur, he would have elaborated all those childhood pastimes also what he has written. See, abhi aisa hota hai na ki, say, one book has got childhood pastime, other book has got the other pastimes. So I have to purchase both the books. But if everything is there in one book, then I'll purchase that book. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami could have done nice publicity saying, everything is there in this. Childhood pastimes, boyhood pastimes, Navadvip Leela, Jagannath Puri Leela, South Indian Yatra, everything is there. Take this book. But he didn't do that. He didn't elaborate. Whatever Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborated, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he just touched on those points and he never elaborated on that. Only those pastimes which Vrindavan Das Thakur has not mentioned in Chaitanya Bhagavat, only those pastimes Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has elaborated. This is called as the Vaishnava etiquette. One point which Prabhupada writes, a writer of transcendental literature never tries to surpass the previous acharyas. Very important point. He'll never surpass the previous acharya. He'll just follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. Very important. Now, how this principle was followed by Srila Prabhupada, let's try to understand. So, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, the time will come when people from all around the world will learn Bengali to relish Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because it was there only in Bengali. But Prabhupada says, we are trying to present Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in English and do not know how successful it will be. So now, abhi Bengali mein nahi raha, abhi English mein aa gaya. That's how today I was able to read and then I'm giving class. But Prabhupada is saying that, but if one reads original Chaitanya Charitamrita in Bengali, he will relish increasing ecstasy in devotional service. He's writing his English version, but he's saying if you really want to relish, then you read the original text, original Bengali. In another place, Prabhupada writes that I've retained the Bengali text so that devotees can learn Bengali and read and relish the Bengali text. Therefore, we see this very clearly that say one Acharya is saying something, the next Acharya who is there, he'll be in line with that. He'll just repeat that. He has done something extra, but still repeat that. That is best. That is best. Not what I am presenting, that is best. That is best what they have given. My God, such a high level mood. Huh? They are our Acharyas. These are those great personalities who have come to deliver all of us. It's very nice to see that how these great stalwarts, they are setting a great example for all of us so that we can follow this very nicely. Last few shlokas where he is glorifying Chaitanya Bhagavat. Krishna Lile Bhagavata Kahe Veda Vyasa Chaitanya Lilara Vyasa Vrindavana Dasa. Who wrote Krishna Lila? Ved Vyas. And same Vyas has appeared now and his name is Vrindavan Das Thakur and he has given us Chaitanya Bhagavat. Vrindavan Dasa Kaila Chaitanya Mangal, Jahara Shravade Nashe Sarva Mangal. Anyone who reads Chaitanya Mangal of Vrindavan Das Thakur, all the inauspiciousness will go away from your existence. And he says the subject matter of this book is so sublime that it appears that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has personally spoken to the writings of Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. In Sri Chaitanya Mangal, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has given the conclusion and essence of devotional service by quoting the authoritative statements of Srimad Bhagavatam. He's advertising in his book Chaitanya Charitamrit, he's advertising the book Chaitanya Bhagavat. Can you imagine what he is doing? No Kali Yuga being can do this. No materialist can do this. Last two shlokas. Vrindavana dasa pade, koti namaskar, aiche grantha karite ho, tarila samsar. I offer millions of obeisances to whom? Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. No one else could write such a wonderful book for the deliverance of all fallen souls. No one else can write. मैं तो लिख ही नहीं सकता. My book is nothing. His book. You should read his book. तारकी अद्भुत चैतन्य चरित वर्णन जहार श्रवणे शुद्ध कैले त्रिभुवन. What a wonderful description he has given of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Anyone in the three worlds who hears it is purified. This is the mood. This is the humility of a devotee. Therefore, the conclusion that we can take from this is Vaishnavas are naturally non-envious. This is the conclusion that we can take. When Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami received mercy, all devotees were jubilant. Here he is writing a book, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is writing a book, but he is not glorifying his book, but he is glorifying the book written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. And what is he calling himself? I am more fallen than Jagai Madhai, I am more fallen than the worm in the stool. Anyone who takes my name, all their punya is gone and all paap will come. Just imagine, book ke front mein agar aise likhenge, kaun book kharidega? But those great souls who understand the mood of these great souls, they'll be able to accept the teachings given by them. And we see all our acharyas are in line. They'll not speak anything to surpass the previous acharya. So these are the different Vaishnava etiquettes. These are different Vaishnava principles, that we learn from this pastime. And surely we have learnt many, many pointers to analyze if we are really advancing in Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit ki, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.